Bob, this is John Cavad. I'd like to add something from my.
Absolutely.
I think there's a pretty large gap in the reality of where the country would like to go and where we are, and we've got a situation where pressure parts of a boiler.
Keep going. We just have, as people are they're putting themselves on hold, and Ross will track them down there.
Okay, it's going to be easier in the short term because we have, politically we have uncertainty. We have a problem with obtaining permits for new coal plants, for example. There's a lot of political involvement in the process of where we go in the next 10 or 15 years. And so it even adds more emphasis to the fact if we can knock the bank and put the resources that we have currently, improve the heat rate for those units and improve their carbon footprint, so to speak, and this all fits into that these are things that we can do in a practical way that's realistic. And, we're not reaching out there talking about solar energy or wind farms that, could be 10 or 15 years from going online, and how well they'll be accepted politically at that point is a question. So, if we don't take a good hard look at what we've got in place now and how we can improve it, that is about the only stability as far as management and the politics are involved that we have.
Yeah, I think that we can formulate a strategy on all this that minimizes maximizes the environmental improvement. And certainly with the nuclear problems that have arisen now, and we had extensive discussions yesterday with some of the coal companies that are analyzing gas prices on a daily basis, and I agree with them that if you look at the EIA figures even, they say there's going to be a huge increase in shale gas, and they put that in their projections. But even with that, they're projecting that we'll be a net importer of gas all the way through 2035, and the reason is that the non-associated gas disappears, which is, our conventional drilling of gas, and this is based on gas only being 25% of our total electricity mix. So any increase that you have of gas-fired power and reduction of coal-fired power is going to have major impact on gas prices. So I think that's all the more support for the fact that we have to maintain the existing coal plant as efficient as possible. We have to get a resolution with the environmentalists and with the nation as a whole to go forward and allow us to build new coal plants.
Well, congratulations.
Didn't mean to be monopolizing the conversation here, guys. Other questions from the floor? Thoughts from the floor? It doesn't have to be questions.
This is Jim Downey. I'm curious, how frequently should a boiler operator go through this entire testing and optimization process? And right after that, I think it would be really interesting to lay the cost for optimizing those 11 boilers right alongside the data. In other words, I'm curious, what kind of investment does it take to achieve the results? You've been able to pull all those boilers into compliance without substantial back-end controls.
Dick, you want to take the first part of the testing as far as the combustion optimization?
I'd be happy to. We worked some years ago for a utility that ended up being merged into some others, and they don't do it anymore. But we had about a 10-year run in the 80s where we would do a complete set of tests from the pulverizers, pulverizer primary air, airflow measurements to the primary air, secondary air, overfire air, O2 rise from the furnace to the stack. And we would do those at least twice a year, once right before the outage, and then once right after the outage, back when we were doing annual outages. And that way it gave a real work list for the maintenance people to make some corrections, like finding expansion joints that were up, airflow primary elements that were way out of calibration, things like that. So combining the testing as a diagnostic tool with environmental as well as reliability is the reason why these three companies came together in this alliance. But anyway, and that testing on a 500 megawatt boiler is in the magnitude of $200,000, $100,000 to $200,000 for a test team in the year.
I'll take the second part of the question, which was the cost of bringing these 11 boilers into compliance. I think the point we're trying to make here is we're not exactly sure what that cost is yet, but with the problems that we see with the high CO and dioxin and furan levels, what we've kind of explained is that the first course of action would be to improve the combustion. And, you know, I'm pretty confident that they may not end up having to spend a dime on the particulate or maybe even the mercury levels by the time they get the combustion improved. And if they can get their exit temperatures down in a reasonable level, there's on a lot of these boilers, if you've got CO values above 1,000 ppm and some high LOI and high exit temperatures, there's probably a 1,000 BTUs per kilowatt hour of heat rate to be gained, and as we noted earlier in the discussion, that could be a 20 to 30% reduction in particulate emissions. So by the time they're done with that, that might be it. You know, maybe if there's still mercury left, they might have to add some sorbent, but and make sure the precip is operationally good. But other than that, there might not be anything to spend.
Just adding to that, Jeremy, what we've seen in the furnace for a non-optimized furnace, and this is not an exaggeration, I've seen the gas temperatures at the superheater being 1,000 degrees higher than they should be. I mean, melting platinum, rhodium, melting stainless steel radiation shields when the temperature can be 2,150 degrees, and platinum melts around 3,200 degrees. So, I mean, literally, it's 1,000 degrees difference, and the CO, if you've got flames being quenched in the superheater, it's off scale from any of our analyzers. So getting the inputs right is a huge opportunity for improvement on almost all boilers that we've been involved with.
Whenever I think of that, there's just one phrase that springs to mind.
Are there other questions here? The potential for reducing NOx also translates, does it not, into lower ammonia costs if you've got an SCR? So it's not only just a matter if you don't have an SCR meeting the code, but even if you've gotten one, why spend all that money when you can do it in the burners?
Can I just, John Cabat here, can I add to Mr. Downing's question?
Absolutely.
We can make a pretty good case on the pressure parts.
Don't skew to offense topic.
With the fact that if we have better control of the chemistry in the water wall area, we have out of reducing corrosion rates due to reducing atmospheres, as well as long-term overheat because of poor gas distribution and temperature distribution, and situations where where we have some carbonization, those issues can be reduced. So I think you got to look beyond just the things that you would normally talk about what your return on investment would be for any kind of a program. And one of the things that this holistic approach gives you is there are benefits that will come out of the woodwork if we just go back to what the basics should be.
Good points. Other questions?
No, just a comment. This is Downey again. The message I got from this entire presentation is that if I'm a boiler operator, before I even think about putting any add-on controls in, the first thing I want to do is invest in testing and optimization.
This is Steve Ostanek. Yeah, you're right, Jim. And another important part there is that we got to make sure that we get, as part of that testing and optimization, that we're looking at the right data and we understand how it's all interconnected. And we've been involved in many programs where the user thinks they have the right data, but it doesn't correlate with anything, it doesn't tie into anything, and we have to start the process over because, you know, if we're using bad data to make decisions, we're probably making bad decisions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Other questions? Now's your opportunity. Also, an opportunity to make comments, if you would. Well, I think it's been a very, very instructive session this morning, and I think the Neundorfer people have certainly arranged it in a very constructive manner. I think the fact that you were able to condense all this information into just a 30-minute presentation, A, is going to make it invaluable for follow-up with you people, but B, too, also, I think for many of the people on the phone, you're probably already envisioning how you're going to want to let other people in your corporation listen to the recording, because I do think that they've done it on such a succinct and demonstrative basis there that it's going to be very, very useful. I'd like to thank everybody for their participation and for the great discussion. If your question didn't get answered, we will get back to you soon to continue the conversation. In the meantime, Neundorfer's online air pollution control compliance webpage is a great source to learn more about environmental compliance. As we said, the entire webinar is being recorded. It will be available in the next couple days on the Neundorfer compliance webpage. There's another bonus here, too. We want to remind you that you're entitled to 1/2 continuing education credit just for attending this webinar. If you send your contact info to us at solutions@neundorfer.com, they'll mail you a certificate. Here's the contact information for the experts who presented this morning during the webinar. You can get in touch with them to learn more. Steve, Jeremy, Dick, and John welcome your phone calls and emails. This information is also available on Neundorfer's compliance webpage. During 2011, Neundorfer and its alliance partners, Storm and UDC, are presenting several interactive collaborative seminars of interest to managers at electric utilities and industrial plants. These learning events cover fuel flexibility, a holistic approach to regulatory compliance, and best practices for developing compliance plans using the team-focused approach. So you can see that list up here, and Neundorfer is facilitating a variety of other learning events designed to help paper mills, utilities, and industrial plants improve their processes, reduce power consumption, and maintain regulatory compliance. A full list of these events is published on Neundorfer's Learning Center webpage. And at this point, I'd like to thank everybody and have a great day.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.